Dragon Ball is a franchise that I am very normal about, and so is Fire Emblem. You can probably tell that based on my Fire Emblem YouTube channel, and since I'm so normal about both of these franchises, I've decided to answer the age-old question, can X beat Goku? But since this is a very monumental task and Goku's power level is simply far too high for me to calculate on my own, I figured I'd enlist the help of someone else, Big Gnome, a fellow YouTuber who covers very, very important subjects, and is the creator of the critically acclaimed masterpiece, Fire Emblem.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be on this channel. While I wouldn't brand myself as an absolute authority on versus debating, I've still dabbled in enough to be able to determine which characters in Fire Emblem could beat Goku. With my brief experience in versus debating, 5 points is knowledge on Dragon Ball, and both of our long histories with the Fire Emblem franchise, I'd say the two of us can seriously get to the bottom of this topic.
And that's the key word here, seriously. We are both going to take this video seriously, to the point where, as much as it pains me to say this in my heart and my soul, characters we meme like Mathis, Makalov, and Riddell will not be featured, since, as you know, deciding which fictional characters can beat other fictional characters is very important business. But with all that being said, if you end up enjoying the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, let's begin.
So, starting off, there's one thing that we need to establish, the fact that there isn't a single character in Fire Emblem who's capable of beating Goku in terms of strength alone. From what I know, Goku is capable of causing ripples across the universe in his Super Saiyan God form, and Fire Emblem characters don't even come close to that level of strength. But never fear, because there's plenty of characters in Fire Emblem who can outsmart Goku and win through trickery. And who better to outsmart Goku than Srios' student prodigy, Lysithea?
Lysithea gets access to several important spells as long as her reason is high enough, and while you're probably expecting the all-so-original joke of her using Dark Spike's tea, Goku isn't usually seen riding a horse, so she'll have to use another one of her spells, Luna, which is pretty inconsistent across the series. Sometimes it's a skill, other times it's a physical weapon, and in some games it's a magical spell. In Three Houses, it's the last of those three, and its animation is depicted as a moon that transforms into a black hole, and this gives Lysithea a specific edge on Goku, because Lysithea's artificial moon could generate enough Blitz waves to transform Goku into an ape. While normally this would require a tail, and Goku hasn't had his since he trained with Kami, as seen in the Baby Saga, if you emit enough Blitz waves into a Saiyan directly, they don't really even need a tail to transform. Not only will this form make Goku significantly weaker than he would have been in whatever Super Saiyan transformation he was using beforehand, but since Goku can't control this form, he'll be unable to strategize, giving Lysithea ample opportunity to use any of her lethal spells and finish off Goku.
On the topic of magic, there's two other magical abilities from across the series that could be used to get the leg up on Goku. The first of which is Entrap, which can be used to bring enemies right next to you. And according to the wiki, Sonya from FE15 is the only character in the series to innately have this spell as opposed to just using a staff that Goku could easily disarm. With this spell, Sonya can put Goku in any number of deadly traps and claim the W.
What the fuck?
Since Big Gnome is talking about FE15, one of his favorite games in the series, it's only natural that I talk about one of my favorite games in the series, Fire Emblem Thracia 776. In particular, let's talk about the game's main antagonist, Beld, and his signature spell, Petrify. It turns people into rocks. And, last time I checked, rocks can't really fire the Kamehameha wave, so,
Speaking of major antagonists, several of them from across the series have an attribute that could give them an important advantage against Goku. These antagonists are Garnet and Hardin from the Arcania games, Julius from FE4, Ashura the Black Knight, and Ashnard from the Tellius games, and Hell from Heroes. And the attribute that all of them share is only being able to be killed by specific weapons or abilities.
Garnet and Hardin can only be killed by Starlight, or at least somebody holding the Light Sphere. Julius can only be killed by the Nagatome unless, Goku wants to deal 1 damage at a time. And Ashura, Burger King, and Ashnard can only be killed by anything enchanted by the goddess. And I think Hell might be immortal until she's struck with the summoner's gun, although I'm not sure, I'm not 100% on that, because, if you actually start caring about Fire Emblem Heroes stories and reading the cutscenes, you should probably start questioning your life choices.
Now, many in the versus debating community would say that this is a fallacious argument because Goku can use any number of things in the Dragon Ball world that don't exist in the Fire Emblem world, since these characters wouldn't have specific immunities to them.
And that's a very valid point, as there is actually a technique Goku could use to get around these restrictions, that being the evil containment wave or Mafuba. However, as seen in the Goku Black arc, Goku is actually too brain dead to use this technique.
But there's more to winning a fight than just powers, as there's also the psychological aspect to consider. Goku has a very exploitable weakness in the form of his weakness to needles. In 3 houses, we can find 2 characters with access to needles. Manuela is a nurse, so she probably has at least 1 needle lying around, and through the lost items mechanic, it's revealed that Bernadetta has a needle and thread. So it's official that Bernadetta can beat Goku, just as long as Veld hasn't got into him first.
Another aspect of Goku's character that can be exploited psychologically is his love of food. Now, the polite way to phrase this next bit is to say, Fire Emblem loves taking inspiration from its past games, but what that really means is that sometimes supports can rely on overused anime tropes, and one overused anime trope is having a given character be comically bad at cooking. Off the top of my head, Chris and Flane have support conversations that invoke this trope, so they could simply make food so atrocious that Goku dies. There are probably other things that could be mentioned here, but if I went out of my way to list every instance of an overused anime trope in Fire Emblem, we'd be here for a while. But while most of these characters' ways of beating Goku are a bit stretched, here's one of the absolutely 100% surefire ways a Fire Emblem character can beat Goku, and that is to
be so pure of heart and morally correct that Goku wouldn't want to hurt him. Garen sweep! Garen sweep! Garen sweep!